Happy New Year's Eve. We finally made it throughout 2020. Everybody's like, it's over, it's over, it's over. Welcome to another episode of War Hero to Superhero, helping military veterans and first responders transform their lives from the bedroom to the boardroom. In 2021, I'm going to say is going to start great. And we have a great guest with us, Stephanie, and she's came to the SuperHeroSanctum. We only do this once every couple months. We are bringing on the wisdom. So Stephanie is joining us again, going on and bringing her superpower to the world while she's going on all the way on the West Coast. So we might get some West Coast lag. So just giving you a heads up because we're broadcasting from thousands of miles away. Don't you love technology? So we're going to bring her in and we're going to go over and get you guys the wisdom you need because you're in the sanctum. There's no point if there's no wisdom. All right, so let's bring it in. We're going to bring Stephanie in. Stephanie, do I have you?
Hi there. Yep, I'm here.
Awesome, awesome. So let's go into our first question. What is your superpower to the world? We'd love to hear what you bring to the world.
I think my superpower is multitasking.
Awesome. So when did you discover this and how did you transform your life after this happened of multitasking? Because I'm not a multitasker, I'm a monotasker. One thing at a time.
When you become a mom, I think that's when you become the world's greatest multitasker. Is jobs and kids and family and making sure everything gets done all at the same time while you have little ears in your, little voices in your head trying to get stuff done. So probably a long time ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of screwed because I'll never become a mom. So I guess I'll never multitask. And that's okay for me. I'm ecstatic about not multitasking because when I multitask, I multi-fail. So hopefully you can help us gain some wisdom to go over and do that. So in that tactic, so as your superpower about multitasking, what tactics can we learn from you since you do it so well, being the ultra mom? How do you go over and take that to your clients and to people like me and also our veterans that are listening?
Organization. Being organized is probably the best thing that anybody can do. It's starting to be tomorrow is the beginning of a new year. It can be the beginning of, if you run your own business or you work for somebody else, just organizing yourself, making sure that you have, a schedule is huge, making sure that things are scheduled, things are on a calendar, and once you get into a routine, it actually becomes second nature. Just like, when you were a kid, you got up, you went to school, you came home, homework, and bed. So it's kind of the same thing of making sure everybody's organized and you're working with people who are organized or who can teach you to be organized.
Wow. So just organization that brings the multitasking. That's really cool. I never thought about that way. People have always said like do this or do that, but yeah, getting organized because then you can literally grab more than one task at a time. That's pretty cool. Exactly. So speaking of a multitask thing that happens in our lives in which you're like an expert in is like buying a home is a major feat. I haven't done that yet. I'm scared and I do so many things. So what would you suggest for us to thrive during that endeavor? Because it can be like months while doing this major feat and getting back and coordinating with, home loan, mortgage people, real estate. I used to just foreclose homes. Those are simple. You just went over and slapped it on the door and then you're like, it's over. That was easy. But how do you go over and not go from foreclosure, but actually buying and actually getting that home and thriving at the same time during that time?
Well, being a lender, being the money person and having it's key to have a team of people that everybody has their role. So, and it's making sure that you have the team that works, coherently together. As me being the lender, I have realtors that I work with that then we can both work simultaneously with clients to get them where they need, even if they've bought 5 or 6 houses, using your VA benefits, they're always changing. There's rules. It's, military life. Things changed right out of the middle of nowhere. So it's making sure that you're working with somebody who's knowledgeable is key because they're going to be able to walk you through the beginning steps of what you need to do. And if you know, in my line of work, if you don't qualify, it's my job to figure out why and get you organized and figure out what is it that you're doing? What is it that we need to prevent? What is it that we need to fix? And then we move on to the realtor side of it. They're the ones that are going to be with you. You need to make sure you're comfortable with them because you're going to spend a lot of time with them. And then also where it comes back to the organization, there's a lot of paperwork that goes into buying a home and making sure you know where everything's at and not digging through boxes at 3 o'clock in the morning in your attic trying to find old tax returns, you know, things like that, that you're fully aware up front before the process even starts what exactly it is that you're going to need to have, who you're going to need to be working with, and what to expect through the whole process so there's no surprises.
That's huge. That is definitely huge. So with that, so now we can go over and thrive. My last question for you, because it's New Year's Eve, we got to celebrate. So we're going to make this short. We're going to make this sweet, right? What 3 tips would you give to your clients so they don't fall in the trap of regret? You know, I don't want to be that person that goes over and says, hey, I bought a 2-bedroom. And then let's say I get pregnant again. Well, not me, but my wife. And I go over and I'm like, oh, I didn't think of getting 3. Or I go over and then I get to the house and I'm like, oh, I didn't get that backyard I was looking for. Or, oh, I didn't realize how much this was. And now I'm 35% of take home gone. I had one guy tell me that. I was like, oh, I'm like, wow. So how do you go over and get the trap of regret? Because we don't want to be that person who's buying a house every 5 to 7 years. I know it's the average, but I don't want to be average. We want to be above average. War Hero to Superhero, we want to thrive from the bedroom to the boardroom. And my bedroom better be set. So.
Well, I don't want to keep moving. So whoever all these people are that are moving every 5 and 7 years have got to be crazy because I don't know about you, but I hate moving. So I definitely don't want to do that. I think the first tip would be to find somebody who you're comfortable with because these people, you know, I'm going to know a lot about you, you know, between your job and your family and, you know, work and credit and things like that. So you need to feel comfortable with who you're working with and make sure that they're going to be available on your time. You know, I'm in Washington on the West Coast, but I do have clients that are overseas. I do have clients that are in Hawaii that are 3 hours behind and, you know, making sure that you have somebody who's available when you need them, not when they're on their time. So I think that's the tip number 1. Tip number 2 is to not rush into it. Don't, you know, I know it's like buying a new car. You drive it, you love it, you want to drive it off and make sure it's what you want. And with the market, it's crazy. And, you know, I know here in Washington, I have people buying houses sight unseen because, you know, we're in a military town and people are PCSing and they have to get something and, you know, that's scary, but make sure you're buying what you want. It's the biggest purchase that you're going to make in your life. So make sure that it's, you know, when you move in, you're just not going to hate every minute of it. And tip number 3 is to make sure you can afford it. Do not be house poor, people. Do not live to make your house payment. Make sure it's within your budget. Talk to your lender. Make sure you go over all of the numbers before you put those offers in or close on a house. There's a lot of little fees that are in there, you know, a little credit report fee here or there that could really, or even property taxes are a huge one. That make sure you're talking to your money person and going over that stuff before you put those offers in on those houses. Make sure your lender is running those numbers. And because you don't want to get stuck with something that you're paying all this money for, you may love the house, but you're killing yourself to make a mortgage.
Yeah, that's definitely huge in that particular regard to go over and to understand that. It was great wisdom to go over and to bring. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit more on where we can go over and connect with you.
Well, I am licensed in quite a few states and expanding my team out. So if you go to starsandstripeshomeloan.com, the easiest way to get a hold of me is through email. That probably by far is going to be the easiest. Of course, we're all connected to our phones. So, but I'm licensed in Washington, Oregon, Arizona, and soon to be Colorado, Georgia, and California. Everything's just kind of backed up in their system. So we're just waiting for all the licensing to come through. And then Texas and Hawaii here pretty quick. So a lot of states, a lot of different rules, different things like that. And me and my team are pretty versed in everything VA. We're all military spouse, military veterans. All the realtors that we use are veterans. So we're just trying to give back and make sure everybody understands what they're getting into, how their benefits work, and just to make sure that you're taken care of. We take care of our own, as everybody knows, and just make sure you're working with somebody who has your best interest in mind.
And that's really cool. And they also connect you on Facebook, correct?
Yes. So if you go to @Stephanie Corcoran Home Loans, that's my Facebook page. You can, all of my reviews for most of my clients are on there. So then that's the other thing when you're working with a lender, check their social media, check their stuff, check their reviews, talk with other people who have used them. Make sure it's where you want and who you want to use. Because the last thing you want to do is get in the middle of buying a house and all hell breaks loose and you end up losing the house that you really, you've already placed your Christmas tree in the living room for.
Whoops. You definitely don't want to have that. So I want to thank you, Stephanie, for joining and passing on the great wisdom. And we got a lot of comments on there. We had had several different people. We had Chris Levine jump in, and we had Mike jump in, and it was only 2 people, but yeah, they jumped a lot of comments. Also, we just had recently, Joe says she is definitely very knowledgeable and knows her stuff. So there you go. So now you got some backup. Man, they're just all jumping on right now. That's really cool. So as we go over and we do these episodes, as everybody knows, SuperHeroSanctum only happens once when we have 5 weeks in a month. And this is December. It's really weird. 5 weeks, right? 30 days. Doesn't make sense. But anyway, so we go over and do a contest. So if you love Stephanie's content, you want Stephanie to be uplifted to our TV show, War Hero to Superhero, which will be airing on our new network, Guiding Star Veteran TV Network, which is going through Simul TV and also multicasted through AFN. So if you want to have her go over and get out to 182 countries, 60 countries that our veterans are in, go over and just watch this video for 3 seconds. We know it was a little choppy, but you can catch the wisdom on there, and we'll definitely fix that on the recording. But we want you to go over and even if you can spend 3 seconds, all you have to do is just go over and go to your phone. You watch the video, and you actually click the video because you actually have to listen audibly for 3 seconds. That's all we ask. In the next 3 days, Stephanie could be celebrating the new year on a TV show. So balls in your court, Stephanie, to go over and to do that because we have 2 other people that are competing right now. So share it out like crazy. And we want to give you one last parting shot before we close out the new year because everybody's like 2021.
Well, I'm really hoping that the new year is going to bring a lot of stuff that maybe last year happened. We can get over this pandemic and everybody get to a little bit normal, hopefully a normal life, and being able to at least touch people again, or it'd be nice to go work in my office, So just everybody out there, just wish you a happy new year and be safe and, just make sure that you're, especially in my realm of the world, make sure you're working with people who know what they're doing. And if there's anybody out there, no matter what state that you're in, if you guys have questions, please reach out. I can hook you up with people in those states, or just ask general questions that maybe you just don't know or you got wrong information about. I would be more than happy to walk you through how benefits work and direct you in the right direction.
Yep, and she's going to be famous too. She's already got about 5, 6 states to just keep following her. She might be doing her own show soon, so that'll be awesome. So
we'll see. Yeah, working on it.
All right. So we want to thank you for going over and joining. Thank you for all our guests from Facebook, Podopolo, YouTube, Periscope, where you can go get your dynamic interactive podcasting through Podopolo, and also Twitch. Crazy, we're everywhere. So we want to thank you all for joining. Thank you for watching. Remember, you got to click on the video 3 seconds for a view in the next 3 days. So get that out there. Send the love, send the hearts, but definitely send the views. You got to click it for Stephanie to win it. So we want to thank you for going over and joining. And we're going to punch out, and you all have a great new year.